My way, my life.
This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network. Welcome to the latest episode of Who's Next. I'm Andy Atherton, one of your co-hosts, and we are on the road to Stand and Deliver. That's right, the build-up, the hype, it's all starting to come together. By the end of tonight's show, we may not know everything that's going to be occurring, all the matches and what have you, at Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania weekend, but we'll have a good idea as the card is starting to take shape and fall into place and, you know, and break it down. So who is here to break it down with me? Well, it's the person who's always here to break it down with me. This show would not be the show without this person, and I'm bringing him right in right now. He's giggling in the background because I'm pumping him up. The Mud Pie, Logan Crosland. Logan, I love the giggles, man. Love it when I make you giggle.
Yeah. I was anytime you can make me laugh, it's always a good time. But yeah, definitely happy to be here. And like you said, we don't know quite everything, but I think we have a good picture of where we at least might be headed. I'll say in most cases. There's a couple that might be a little bit up in the air, but we'll talk about it as we go.
Yeah. Definitely, it's definitely starting to, like as of right now, as we're recording on the night after the last episode. So we're recording this on March 13th. We may not be able to get another show in before Stand and Deliver, so we'll try to give somewhat predictions at the end of the show tonight. But things are starting to, little pictures are starting to become a little clearer. There's only one match that we know of at this moment. But I have a feeling on a few of the other. I think the title matches, I think we can kind of figure out where they're going. And, the big grudge match that may main event the show, I think. And then, maybe some other fillers that we may see in there. So, all right, so let's get into it. We left off with our latest episode into the NXT show from Tuesday, February 20th. And the show opened up with Shotzi Blackheart and Lyra Valkyria arriving separately. We have our first match of the night, Lexis King challenging Oba Femi for the NXT North American Championship. And Oba using his strength early on, but Lexis targets the arm to try and grind him down. We see Robert Stone watching backstage, and he decides to head out to ringside. Stone distracts Lexis back inside. Oba then drops him with a lariat, and then Femi hits a powerbomb, retaining the NXT North American Championship. So good little match. I mean, kind of figured that this was Lexis King's master plan, but it didn't work out for him. So I'm kind of happy that they're doing a slow build with him. Oba definitely is a blue chipper, still a little rough, a little green around the gills, but I think he's doing his part well. What do you think of the opening match?
Yeah, he's such a force and such a dominant presence that you can kind of overlook some of those things unless it just looks real rough in some situation, which some things have happened like that. But he's so dominant and he just wrecks shop, so he can kind of get away with it a little bit. And they gave King enough offense in this one to make it not be a complete squash, but at the same time, it was to get Oba Femi over and his dominance, and also to get Stone and King's little rivalry they have going on push forward. So like you said, not a bad match, but not our regular opening speed real quick kind of match necessarily.
Yeah. Usually we get a really highly contested match, like a really strong pace, fast pace actually. But no, this was kind of not, like you said, a squash, but it was close. But King gets a little more in there than most have gotten up to this point. All right, so we go backstage. Jacy Jayne and I forgot the girl's name. It's a new girl. Are chatting. Jasmine, yeah. All right, chatting with Thea Hale, who is dejected that Riley Osborne hasn't texted her back since their date. And we get Ariana Grace interrupting, and as she eavesdropped as JC's getting to the you messed up, and that's not what's hard to get means. to give Hale a lecture and appreciating a man's attention or whatever outdated beauty queen crap she's peddling these days. Jacy then tells her to shut up and get out of their business. They leave together, and we go to break. Back from commercial, we have Lyra Valkyria trying to talk some sense into Tam Paxley. Says if she could do something for her, she'll make it up to her. Tatum is excited about what she can do. Lyra tells her to stay away from Shotzi Blackheart. If she can do that, she has a special surprise for her. Then we got Tatum, who pledges to stay right there and sits in a bit of a meltdown. We get the Wolf Dogs making their entrance to the ring. Braun talks up their new alligator skin boots and tag titles. Baron Corbin recounts his No Mercy victory over Breaker, and Braun is mock upset, and he says he carries his team. They talk about their victory with the tag titles and dub the End of Days spear set up as Spear of Days. We get Chase U entering. Andre and Duke make their case for challenging, offer up an Andre Chase University size ass whipping. Then we get Nathan Frazier and Axiom rolling up. They say they were the closest to being the Wolf Dogs in the cup, so if anyone deserves the shot, it's them. Then we get Ava Raine coming out to make a decision and books a number one contenders match between the two babyface teams that night. We get a Roxanne Perez interview backstage. She says Ren Sinclair reminds her a lot of herself, but soon enough she'll learn that to be happy here isn't good enough. All right, so we got a lot of backstage stuff going on here and in the ring. We building up here with this Ariana kind of spreading her, positive, kind of misguided positivity, I guess, since she is a heel. And then, the cracks are forming in the friendship here with Jacy and Thea, because it looks like Jacy's got a new little bestie on her side. We get Lyra and Tatum. I'm really digging Tatum Paxley with this crazy character. I think she's been really up in her game with it. I think her in-ring has gotten better, and I'm interested to see where this finally, the end game with this finds out. And then we get, of course, the kind of setting up some more contenders for the tag titles. And Roxanne still leaning into her not full heel turn, but she's getting there. So what are your thoughts on some of this storyline business moving forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Thea Jacy stuff, I think throughout this episode we'll kind of see how it pays off, or at least for now. But yeah, we kind of always thought once she got involved, this is where it was going to kind of go. I'm kind of confused as to why they let Jacy save Chase U and then she started acting like this, or this is the reason she started acting like this. So it's kind of strange to me, but we'll see where it goes and see how it kind of plays out. Giving Tatum the ultimatum of not getting involved tonight and she can get a surprise like she's a child was pretty funny, but it's a good little thing to throw in there. And then Braun and Baron, the NXT arena crowd is pretty behind them. Actually, they were chanting pretty loud for them. So despite their best efforts of I think them supposed to being heels, it hadn't really worked out. If that's what their kind of idea is, but Chase U never really got their title shot back, so from the D'Angelo family, so that they're just out here trying to get the shot or the rematch that they kind of had in the contract and all that. And then like Nathan and Axiom said, they kind of gave Braun and Baron the best match of anybody in the cup, so they feel like they kind of deserve it as well. So, and then, like you said, Roxanne kind of starting to show a little bit more heelish. So, a good little promo there.
Yeah, she's been inching towards it, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I think they need to give Frazier and Axiom a name if they're going to continue to attack, because I actually could see them as a decent team on the main roster. If they get brought up together. I think separately, I think they could flounder at least in the beginning, but I think as a tag team, they'll make more of a splash. So we'll see where that goes. All right, so we'll move on to our next match, which is Roxanne Perez versus Ren Sinclair. Perez taking things to the floor, beating Sinclair down back inside. Ren gets a couple of quick near falls before Roxanne paces her with a chop. We get a whip blocked, elbow into a slam, cover for two, and a half ouch from Ren, but Perez slips out. Armbar, neck crank, step over knee, arm breaker, cover for two. Cobra Clutch applied. Slamming Sinclair back down. Lariats on the comeback. Short drop kick. Charging in. Counter slam. Suplex blocked. Arm ringer. Rolling soul butt. Sets up pot rocks. But Roxanne lets off the pin. And then she ends up putting an arm trap crossface on Ren Sinclair and gets the win via submission. Back from commercial, we get the Metaphor chatting, carrying on when the No Quarter Catch crew rolls up to poop their party. They say the catch clause means that they don't have to tell them which one they're fighting until they're in the ring together. And we get our next match, Brooks Jensen versus Josh Briggs, which was set up from the previous couple weeks. Clubbing blows from Briggs, whip reverse, block a kick, chops and lariats in the corner. Brooks hits a bulldog, drop kick follows, up kick, taking Josh to the floor, throwing him into the barricade. Back from commercial, Josh with clubbing blows in the corner, off the ropes, slam into a splash, cover for two. Back and forth, Brooks with a missile drop kick, only for two. Josh with a near fall off a choke slam, suplex into a cover. Jensen can't keep him down. Back body drop, reverse into a sunset flip. Briggs off the ropes, falling lariat, so close. Off the ropes again, and then Josh Briggs wins via pinfall with a falling lariat. Post-match, Josh says again and again that he did that for Brooks. So a couple of decent little matches. I wouldn't say they were great. I think, Ren Sinclair still new. I think she's got a big upside. Roxanne, though, showing a much meaner streak here as she, like we said, keeps inching towards being a heel. And the match we knew was going to happen, Brooks and Briggs. There's something that's missing with Brooks Jensen. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but he's not bad in the ring. He needs to work on some character stuff. He is a sympathetic babyface, I think, but I don't know. There's just something there. The worst thing to do would be if they were to bring up Brooks and Jensen together right now, because I think Brooks would be kind of not lost on the main roster, but I think he's not ready for prime time. I think Briggs is pretty much there, but I thought this was an okay match. But I kind of like that where they go with these guys after this, because I really didn't want to see them really. I was happy with their amicable split, and I didn't really want to see it deteriorate. So what are your thoughts on these two matches?
Yeah, I agree with you on that point for sure that you made just there at the end. Roxanne and Ren was it was just a match to get over Roxanne's aggressive streak that she's starting to have in her matches. She clearly could have won the match with the Pop Rocks, but she goes for the submission to kind of lay it in there a little bit more, I guess is the best way to say it. We've talked about Metaphor and the No Quarter Catch crew. Nothing about them matching up in any scenario makes me excited. So I think I talked about it on the last one. But I thought the match with Briggs and Jensen was it was very hard hitting. I enjoyed it for that part. They really laid it into each other. I honestly think these guys are probably friends in real life. Obviously, I think if you're a tag team for long enough, you spend enough time together to where it's probably inevitable that you're going to be buddies at least. But I think they had fun.
Or you hate each other, it has to be split up, which
that's true. That's true.
So feast or famine.
Well, it's one of the two. We'll say that.
Yeah.
But you could kind of tell that they were having fun beating the shit out of each other in there. So. But yeah, I'm glad they aren't going full against each other, and it's kind of a friendship, but they're not going to be partners anymore. They kind of want to do their own thing. But yeah, we'll kind of see that grow in as we go into later episodes.
Yeah, we get Briggs doing the tough love, basically, kind of thing. All right, we get Joe Gacy in the straitjacket in a padded cell. We get Dijak rolling up on Gacy as he tells him there's no getting off this train where we're on. He says he has many instruments of peace to derail his train. Joe collapses laughing. And then we got Luca Crucifino arriving to tell Dijak this is an illegal detention, to which Dijak says this is his law, and Luca rightfully points out that the world doesn't care. Joe breathes a fog out in the glass and doodles a smiley face with his nose, saying it's not over. Then we get Carmelo Hayes arriving at the barbershop as we go to break. Coming back, we got Carmelo Hayes reminiscing about the great memories and moments in the barbershop, and he says he's alone, but he's not lonely because his principles are intact. He runs Trick Williams down and says he left him to be first in Trick Mellow Gang because the idea of him being first in anything was funny to him. Move on to our next match, which is Ariana Grace versus Jacy Jayne. Jayne puts Grace in the throw first into the bottom rope right in front of Thea Hale and gets upset at her for not attacking. Back inside, we get a slam, a float over, a back hip attack, and a senton cover for 2. Elbow drop from Ariana for 2. Armbar chainsawing her forearm across Jacy's jaw. A little back and forth this time. Jasmine Nix, that's her name, steps up and does her job. Then we get Jacy Jayne winning via pinfall. And then we get a D'Angelo family vignette with Tony says they're going back to the old ways, and he's going to enforce his role as the Dom properly. And that's where we're going to pause. So this kind of crazy feud here between Gacy and Dijak continues on. We get Mello, jawing about Trick while Trick is off TV for a brief moment. And we get a little match here between Ariana Grace and Jacy Jayne, kind of moving forward this inevitable split between Jacy and Thea with her new little buddy. So any thoughts on these moments here?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see the Gacy Dijak stuff go past when they had the match at Vengeance Day. But that match was really good. So obviously I'm not going to be sad that it's continuing because I think they could probably have another good kind of crazy match like they had there. Carmelo just continuing to get the heel persona over, really getting the digs in at Trick and how he never was really his buddy or anything like that. He was always the best part of their team and the best part of their group, and really just digging into the being a heel again. I think he really I think that fits him a lot more than being a baby. He's a good baby face, but I think him being a heel is his natural presence. But the JC Ariana match wasn't too much. I think JC's all right in the ring, but she, as far as an in-ring character, she just, ever since, the split, her and Gigi have kind of just been, whatever, that they'll be featured in like a lot of segments and stuff, but in ring, they're just kind of, they're just kind of there, I guess. And the Tony D kind of establishing himself, saying he's going to be, he's going kind of for the top of the card. He wants to be the Don of NXT. That he's gonna start focusing on singles kind of activity and action. So definitely establishing himself as a top tier guy there.
I actually think that JC and Gigi will get brought up as Toxic Attraction. I think they'll reunite them, especially if the rumored Mandy Rose return happens at some point. Maybe I could see Gigi and JC kind of being in NXT probably till the end of the year. Maybe I know Gigi's been working main event a little bit lately, so they could be prepping her. But yeah, JC, I think she needs to be in a group or a team. I think Gigi maybe can maybe stand out on her own a little bit, but they're better together than they are apart. I think with the two of them. So
I think you're definitely right.
All right, so we get a Ridge Holland interview, says he can't get the stench off of him, and Galish smashed his surgically repaired leg in a chair. He says the man he was in that ring is not the man he is in life. We get Shotzi backstage, shadow boxing to get warmed up. And we go on to our number one contenders match for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus Chase U. We get Axiom and Chase to start, Matt grappling, bow and arrow, Andre counter, stereo dropkick, stalemate. We get tags made. Frazier and Hudson are in. Chase U with a little advantage, but Axiom cuts Duke off. 2 for 1, and a low bridge follows. Dives from Axiom and Nathan. We go to a commercial break. Back from the commercial break, Frazier with a rear chinlock. And on Chase, tags made. Duke in with hot boots. Powerbomb float over, big corner, rock bottom. Back and forth. Chase and Frazier trading pins. And we get Chase U winning via pinfall with a Rana pin from Andre Chase on Nathan Frazier. They become the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And then post-match, out of nowhere, we get the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson arriving to lay waste to everyone, punctuating with a magic killer on Duke Hudson. So we get, a nice little match here. I tell you, Duke Hudson, one of the best hot tags today. I thought it was a fun match. Right team goes over here, I think, in this instance. I'm kind of like good with the good brothers, the club, whatever you want to call them, showing up in NXT because they're not doing anything on the main roster. They kind of have AJ doing his own little, I don't know, Sting, Black Sting kind of character there. But yeah, I can, when we get to the end of the show, they're going to be involved in some of my predictions. So, what are your thoughts on this match and the arrival of these guys?
Yeah, the OC, the club, whatever you want to call them at this point. Yeah, they've just kind of become like Michin's, or Mia Yim, whatever you want to call her. They've kind of become her hype man. I feel like every time she has a match, they show them hyping her up in the back. So I think this is a good use of them. Get some veterans down there to kind of boost up this tag division again. Because I think we talked about it in the last episode. I feel like every division kind of goes in a lull at some point, and then it kind of reaches a new height. So maybe putting this veteran team back down there can kind of push the tag team division kind of back up to being one of the best things about NXT. But the match was. I thought the match was really good. Like you said, Chase U should have gone over. Like I said, they never really got their rematch after the D'Angelo family won the titles back from them. So they definitely deserved another shot. But I think Frazier and Axiom will get a shot down the line somewhere too as well. So a good match. And then the Rich Holland stuff. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, no, we're not high on the Ridge stuff right now.
It'll get more interesting as we go on.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, yeah.
All right, so
it's more interesting than him just blabbing, I guess.
yeah. Again, another guy that I think better in a group at this point in his career, and maybe he'll develop more. But I did enjoy the Brawling Brutes, but I'm okay with them. Well, I'm okay. Sheamus obviously took some time off. I think he had some injuries that had to get healed, and putting, getting rid of Butch and bringing us back Pete Dunne and putting him with Tyler Bate on the main roster. I'm enjoying that run. So, not sad about it. I mean, sad for Ridge because he was okay. They could kind of hide him in that group a little bit, I think. But we'll see. Maybe he'll develop into something better than he is. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. All right. So we get our champion Dragunov cutting a promo on Carmelo Hayes, where he tells him to come for the title because he's coming for a greater prize, Mellow Soul. We get Thea Hale and Fallon Henry commiserating about their various issues backstage. We move on to our next match, which is Kalani Jordan versus Lash Legend. Lash slamming Jordan out of the gates, waist lock reversed to a wrist lock, elevating Kalani. We get Jordan slipping out off the ropes, pump kick, cuts her off, short arm, shoulder, block ensue. Then we got Lash with a back-to-back bow and arrow, big splash connects, but Kalani's still in the fight, trading chops off the ropes, block of tiaras. Legend hosses up, but Jordan lands on her feet, head scissors takeover, Lash hits her, and we get a pinfall with a choke slam. We get, with Lash Legend winning the match, post-match, Kiana James and Izzy Dame roll up to accost Kalani some more. She backflips away, shoves James into Dame, and makes good her escape as we go to break. We get a Anderson and Gallows interview. They said they're here in NXT for as long as they like, and they're going to do business like they do everywhere. Magic Killer, 1, 2, 3. So we'll pause there before our main event on this show. I like Lash Legend. She's vastly improving, I think. Will she, kind of move towards the title picture a little closer? I mean, obviously something's going to happen in a moment, but maybe it could be just an outlier at the moment. I think, she's good. She plays the good, larger girl role here with the power moves. Kalani, I think, is probably the top of the new class that we have right now in NXT. That was fine. Right person goes over. I mean, and then we get some more of this Kiana and Izzy kind of mean girling it around a little bit. And, Anderson and Gallows state their intentions. So what are your thoughts on this part of the show?
Yeah, I think Lash has definitely vastly improved over the last year or so. Definitely over the last 4 or 5 months, I'd say, as the metaphor has kind of been getting a little bit more over, and she's been used a lot more, honestly, in singles matches. I think she's definitely improving a lot. And I definitely could see her being, top of the card by probably like the end of the year. As some people kind of phase in and out throughout the year as it goes. But yeah, Kiana and Izzy continue to establish themselves as a team and a group of girls that are going to be, Kiana will probably be in the title picture post Stand and Deliver, and Izzy will kind of be her heavy to kind of help her out in that situation. So, and then the Good Brothers, they're here to stay, like they said. They're here to be a force, and they're coming for the tag titles. So, I'd be interested in the War Dogs, as they refer to themselves, taking on Anderson and Gallows. I think that could be an interesting kind of Hoss matchup. So, we'll see if we get it.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to our main event of the night, which is Lyra Valkyria defending the NXT Women's Championship against Shotzi Blackheart. We get a waist lock from Valkyria, takedown, grounding Blackheart with a side headlock into a pin. No deal. We get a takedown into a pin. Shotzi gets two. Circling collar and elbow, back to the side headlock, off the ropes, drop down, leapfrog, tiaras, but Lyra is unmoved. Hip toss, another one, whip across, block the hip toss, knuckle lock, step up, arm drag to the apron, elbow, front chancery, hanging DDT to the floor. Shotzi comes up lame on one knee, and we go to break. Back from commercial, we are informed that Shotzi is too injured to continue. So your winner of this match, Lyra Valkyria, via referee stoppage, but the show is not over there. We get general manager Ava Raine coming outside and saying that Shotzi is no longer able to compete, but they promised a match, so now it's an open challenge. And the person that answers the open challenge is Lash Legend. So it's now Lash Legend versus Lyra Valkyria for the NXT Women's Championship. Lash with a big right hand, Valkyria stumbling away, lateral press, only two. Big backbreaker, falling lariat, but Lyra won't go down. Canadian backbreaker, rack applied. We see Roxanne Perez freaking out over somebody else getting a title shot before her. Drop kick from Valkyria. Reverse roundhouse block, choke slam. Nope. Fireman's carry, jockeying for a position in the turnbuckles, diving splash. Then we get Valkyria retaining the NXT Women's Championship with the win via pinfall with a diving splash. So really bad for Shotzi. I feel bad for her because she's involved in things on the main roster, but going down there, giving Lyra somebody different to wrestle. I guess if you come from the main roster, you move to the front of the line. At times it seems like in NXT for title shots. I was a little surprised they put Lash out there, considering she had just wrestled. I'm not sure who else they probably could have run out there that would have made sense. It does play into Roxanne Perez kind of being in the showers or the locker room and not knowing of the open challenge, and that kind of adds fuel to the fire. I think they were able to do that only because it was a taped episode. If it was a live episode, I don't know what they would have done, because I think they were able to take time to kind of figure something out there. But it was a decent match. I mean, I didn't think Lash was going to win. I didn't think Shotzi was going to win. Yeah. But okay. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, terrible for Shotzi. I feel like she got used a few months ago on the main roster a little bit for the. I think she was in the War Games match.
Yeah, she was.
I think she got involved in a lot in that, and they keep trying to use her here and there. I think this could have been a good run for her if she kind of had come down, had this match, and kind of stayed around for a little bit, because she's one of those that I think got sent to the main roster a little too quickly when she did. But all things considered, the Lash Lyra match, I think considering that wasn't planned at all, and they had to kind of improvise. I honestly think they probably used Lash because she was warm and she had already gone, and they didn't have to have somebody warm up and get their gear on and all that kind of stuff. Lash was already kind of ready. So I mean, like I said, all things considered, I think they did a pretty good job for being put in that situation. You had to think Lyra probably went into the best headspace for I don't know that she really hurt her, but she was involved in a match where someone got hurt, so that's never a good feeling to have, I'm sure, as a performer. So but like I said, grand scheme of things, I think it worked out the best way it could, and it got Lash a big spot in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. As we'll go through, I think they may be setting her up for some things in the near future. All right. Mm-hmm. So moving on to the show from February 27th of this year, we open it up with our champion Ilya Dragunov in the ring, where he calls out Carmelo Hayes. Hayes comes out with security between him and Ilya, talks about how Dragunov's persona disgusts him and refuses to get in a ring with him until he sees a contract. Ilya takes out some of the security just to show he can, and they square off ring to ramp. Then we have footage of Ava Raine walking backstage where she runs into Gigi Dolan, who wants to talk. They go into Ava's office, and Jada Parker is already there, and she wants to talk to Ava first. They bicker, and Ava makes the obvious match between them for later tonight. And we go on to our first match of the night, which is Kelani Jordan versus Kiana James. Collar and elbow tie-up. We get Kiana rams her into the corner, but Kelani slips out. Armringer Kelani with tiaras. Easy Dame blocks the dive, and she slips to the apron and takes them both out with a Acai moonsault. We got Kelani with a flurry of offense as we come back from commercial, but Kiana stays in the fight. Izzy runs interference for her and trips up Kelani so that Kiana is able to end it, and she gets the inverted overdrive and secures the pinfall. Then we see footage of Roxanne Perez frustrated leaving the locker room last week, and she gets into a brawl with Jakara Jackson. We get the Good Brothers making their entrance, and we have our next match, which is Inoue and Blade versus the Good Brothers. Blade and Anderson to start. Anderson backing him into the corner with right hands and stomps. Inoue tags in, tiaras down, takes Carl's down. Then we get quick tags, punches in the corner, Gallows in, working Malik over, hammering punches in the corner, tags made, and it's over for the boys as they hit the Magic Killer on Idris Inoue. Then we get a post-match with Chase U coming down, telling the Good Brothers they're about to learn that karma's a bitch. Duke Hudson said this week's their backs are in turn, and now it means it's time for Andre Chase, university-sized. Nathan Frazier and Axiom interrupted. Frazier says they've got the Good Brothers next. The babyface teams bicker, and then the LWO appear from behind and dive on the Good Brothers. Gallows and Anderson retreat up the stage, and the Wolf Dogs appear in the crowd to survey the scene. So we get a pretty hot start. We get the Carmelo Dragunov stuff building up to their match. We get Kalani and Kiana off of last week. And then we get Inoue and Blade. We get the Good Brothers, of course, getting a win in their first match in NXT. It's probably the best team to have it over because they have been improving. Everybody seems to improve that we see here over time. Whether how much they improve, that's another story. But we're setting up, kind of a little bit of a messy tag team scene here. And it's kind of exciting because we got a whole bunch of teams in the mix. So what are your thoughts on the start of the show?
Yeah, I thought the opening promo was a solid to kind of set up the main event segment that we're going to have later on. Definitely a hot start to the show because those two guys are great and they can cut great promos to each other. Kiana and Kalani, I thought was a solid match. Like I said, I think Kiana's going to be a bigger factor in the women's division after Stand and Deliver. She's kind of just building at this point with her team with Kiana or Izzy. Sorry. And then, yeah, like you said, the OC taking on Inoue and Blade. I think Inoue and Blade are probably the best tag team to put them in there with to kind of have this match as an establishment match and on this new brand for them. So definitely a good pairing. And then obviously you see kind of maybe where we're going for Stand and Deliver with all these teams kind of vying to face Braun and Baron at Stand and Deliver. So we'll see what kind of happens in the next couple of weeks. But it's good to see all these guys kind of get involved.
Yeah, always like kind of the when we're moving into a big show, all these performers trying to get in on the action. So especially in the tag team scene. All right, so we got Oba Femi rolling up on Ava's office to ask who his next victim is going to be. She says she still has to figure that out. Anila Dragunov arrives to step to the big man, champion. Then we go on to our next match, Jakara Jackson versus Roxanne Perez. Roxanne hot out of the gates, hammering punches. Lash Legend backs her off the floor, but she ducks and slugs Jakara. Jakara in and back out, booting Roxanne down, back inside, dropkick, moonsault out of the corner, but Jackson kicks out. Matt Slam gets her down for a 2-count return. Both women feeling the grind as Jakara slides out of the ring and decks Roxanne. Back inside, back and forth. Roxanne catches her, and it's over as quick as you know because Roxanne hits the submission with the arm trap crossface. And we go backstage to Thea Hale with whatever the wrestling girl version of the Diamond Dogs are, breaking down the failure of her date with Riley Osborne. Whoever wrote this, that's pretty funny, actually. And I know you get that because
I do.
You're a Ted Lasso fan.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so which I've watched the whole show too. Hoo, hoo, hoo. All right, Diamond Dog shout out. Who wants to just be friends now because he was interested in the old Thea. Then Jacy Jayne tells her that the old Thea was lame and it wasn't for her. She wouldn't exist anymore. Then we get Kiana and Izzy rolling up, and Jacy says Kiana gets it and mocks Thea for wanting to take advice from Fallon Henley. The Mean Girls walk off together, and Thea is dejected. Then we get Dijak making his entrance, and we get the Wolf Dogs confronting the Good Brothers backstage. We get Baron Corbin, calm, and Braun Breaker is hyped. The Good Brothers says that Magic Hill last week invigorated them, and they're going to win the tag title soon. Baron taunts Carl about getting slapped by AJ Styles. Braun says this is fun and games, but when the bell rings and the dogs come out, they destroy everybody. All right, so, we haven't seen Jakara Jackson in a singles match for a long time, but she looked, fine, right? She's got a long way to go, but she was in there with Roxanne. Roxanne going over was the right call. Continue on the Thea, Jacy, Mean Girl stuff in the back. A fun little confrontation here, maybe some foreshadowing between the Wolf Dogs and the Good Brothers. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Jakara kind of coming back from an injury. I can't remember exactly what she hurt, but I know that's been what's kind of keeping her out of the ring for the last little while. But yeah, putting her in there with Roxanne is the best move at this point, because Roxanne can get a win, but Jakara can kind of get her, get her wrestling, get back in wrestling shape, get back in the swing of things with a pro out there. So definitely a good matchup there, and Roxanne continues to get her aggressive side over and continue to win with the submissions. So that's a good thing as well. The Mean Girls kind of thing continues. I'm definitely interested to see where this one ends up, because I kind of don't really know where they're going with this, other than just being jerks pretty much. And then we get that establishment of possibility having of the Good Brothers versus the War Dogs in the backstage. So definitely teasing a match between them two that we may see on a big show.
Okay. All right. Then we move on to our next match, which is Dijak versus Luca Crucifino. Crucifino high out of the gates, throwing Dijak over the announce table, back inside, clubbing blows, turn the tide for Dijak, but Luca stays on him with a cannonball. Dijak pummeling him with kicks. Crucifino floats over a suplex. Dijak returns the favor and drops him with a lariat. Off the ropes, throwing lariats. Dijak unmoved, but Luca drops him with a back suplex. Off the ropes, big boot, backbreaker rack, and then we get Dijak winning via pinfall with a feast your eyes. We get Joe Gacy is out of the asylum, still wearing the straight jacket, here to wreak unholy terror on Dijak. Crucifino slips the crowbar into the steel steps, and we see the family watching backstage. Tony D tells Channing Stacks Lorenzo to get him, and we get a little chatter about what the timing of that should be. Lyra's walking backstage, and we get Noam Dar freaking out when I think it was Kathy Kelly sneaking up on him. Says he's ready for anything tonight, but nobody's doing it like Metaphor right now. We get Lyra making an entrance and getting on the mic. First things first, she wants to wish Shotzi a speedy recovery and says she'll still owe her a title shot. And Lash Legend showed out, and stepped up, and she still got the wounds to prove it, but she's still standing here as your NXT Women's Champion. Last week, she made Tam Paxley a promise, and now she held up her end of the bargain. It's time to give her what she deserves. We get Tam Paxley making her entrance, slithering over the barricade. She talks about how hard last week was, and she's proven her devotion, that she's a woman of her word. Lyra says she spoke to Ava Raine and made some calls, and next week they're going to team together, not as friends, but because they have a common goal, taking on the Kabuki Warriors for the tag titles. Tatum freaks out about it, and then we get Ridge Holland entering the there. And we're going to pause there to talk about what's going to happen next. So we get, Dijak and Luca. Dijak got a win. Luca is starting to get featured a little bit more, and I think, they have some plans for him. We get, Tony D, kind of foreshadowing some stuff where we could see Luca getting involved. We get Noam Dar being Noam Dar backstage, and we get, a setup for tag team titles, women's tag titles next week with the Kabuki Warriors making their return to NXT. I don't think they ever teamed together because I don't think they were there at the same time. But it'll be very interesting to see. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, obviously Luca's in this match, but he gets to be more involved as we'll go on. But yeah, this was just to get Dijak another win as he kind of builds this thing with Gacy going forward, because Gacy appears after the match in the straitjacket. So somebody let him out of the cuckoo cage. So, but yeah, obviously Luke is going to be involved in something we'll talk about. I believe on maybe the next episode. It may be later in this one. I'm not sure, but I think it's definitely in the next one for sure. The segment with Noam getting kind of scared by the interviewer was pretty funny in the backstage. He's usually good for those, getting a few laughs in that kind of situation. And then Lyra and Tatum getting the tag team title shot seems kind of out of nowhere, but she had a surprise for her, so I feel like getting some established stars on the big TV episode, it's not ever a bad idea, and especially if it's two pros like Kairi and Asuka. So, but yeah, we'll talk about what happens with Ridge now.
Yeah, kind of weird, but so we get Ridge Holland saying he's happy about their big opportunity and he wants to wish them the best of luck, but if they're finished, he'd like the ring because he has something very important to get off his chest. Says he's a man of action more than words, but he tends to take it too far, and now he's here to apologize for those actions. He was defending himself, his family, with no malice. He's interrupted by text and a voiceover in the style of A Man Has Three Faces, that mysterious teaser we've been getting over the last little while. And he gets walloped across the back by a man holding a chair, and our mystery attacker takes his hood down, and it's not Ty Dillinger, it's Shawn Spears. So kind of a little surprise. There was rumors going around that he had resigned with them. I got to tell you, he's done more in his short time in NXT than he did in his whole tenure in AEW, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll pause there to talk about Shawn Spears. I like the guy. I think he's we'll talk about him a little more because he is featured on the other next two episodes we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like this return. I like that he returned to NXT. Yeah. And I'm curious to see where they go with him. I mean, Ridge being the guy that he kind of makes his return, beating up. I find it a little interesting because Ridge was in the middle of like whatever this reclamation project is. So maybe, I don't know, it leads to him getting a win over there, which I would not do personally. But what are your thoughts on this Ridge interruption and then Shawn Spears being the guy behind those mysterious messages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was very weirded out when Ridge just randomly interrupts this promo that Tatum and Lyra are cutting. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then obviously it sets up. I don't even know if they like ran long or something happened where it just wasn't like the time wasn't matching up. It still seemed weird even if you're setting up this return. But yeah, I mean, like I always say, it's never bad to have a veteran down there. And, Shawn Spears is somebody that may get lost on the main roster. And when in this situation, I think he can be a featured guy, like straight off the bat. He got these vignettes before he was coming in. So, obviously they want him to be a big deal. I don't think he's going to be challenging for the NXT Championship anytime soon or anything like that, but he could be an established guy that, some of these guys that they're trying to build can maybe work with, and if they want that person to go further up the card, they can kind of put him over him. But, yeah, I mean, he's a solid guy. He's not ever going to be the coolest guy or your favorite superstar probably, but he's a solid guy in the ring. He can cut a good promo. But yeah, he's a kind of an exciting guy to have back. And yeah, I think outside of, the original feud he had with Cody in AEW, I don't think they ever really used him much after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now look, this is not on the Drew level, the Cody level of a guy who, maybe not underutilized, but maybe wasn't, doing all that much in there. And then, you leave, you come back as more experienced, better, more established. I think he's definitely a solid hand to have, but yeah. He might be in the NXT title picture at some point, in the, summertime, maybe at the earliest. Also, the thing too is like when these veterans return, whether it's somebody from the main roster or somebody coming back or whatever, debuting in NXT. The benefit of them, it's not just they're on TV. They're in and around the PC. They're with these, this next generation, and they're there talking to them, giving them advice, maybe, giving them some praise and working with them and helping them improve. So it's not just that, they're there to be on TV. No, maybe they're down there to be around Orlando for the next, however a little while, just to make sure to help out, right? Because, if they're not going to be featured on Raw or SmackDown, they might be still doing house shows because that's, you still need to have a nice size roster to do that. But I think that's one thing that we probably don't think about as much, is that they're not just there to be on TV. They're there to be around the PC so that these younger, newer talents can kind of get the rub off of them and kind of learn from them. So
yeah, and
that's
especially
just my little point.
Yeah, and especially teams like the Good Brothers. They've been teaming for God knows how long. They've been a tag team for a decade plus at this point. I mean, if you want somebody to teach, how to any of these new tag teams that are trying to establish themselves, how to kind of get over and what to do and how to do it, I think those are guys that definitely can teach a younger group to how to kind of do that in the best way. So definitely agree with everything you just said.
Yeah, like an OTM can probably learn a few things from the Good Brothers because they're kind of similar in terms of size and how they operate. But all right, so we going to Brooks Jensen challenging Oba Femi, who says he'll be left incapable of walking when he's through with him. Then we get Lexis King coming into entrance. We go to break. We get back from commercial. Kelly Kincaid is hanging outside Carmelo Hayes' dressing room with security when she's let in. He says that he wants Ilya out there and Ava with a contract signed, sealed, and delivered, just waiting for his signature. No contract, no Mello. Move on to our next match, which is Lexis King versus Von Wagner. We get King with a flurry of offense, Wagner off the ropes, bowling him over, delayed vertical suplex, hammering punches, Lexis with a flash pin, but Von won't stay down, smashing Wagner's knee into the mat over and over, but Von pops up and boots him in the face, clothesline to the floor. Following out after him, right hands Robert Stone, then runs interference. And we get Von Wagner winning via pinfall with a schoolboy pin. We get post-match Lexis attacking Wagner, punches his leg until Mr. Stone makes a save with a handful of hair. We get a back fist from King that staggers him and hits him with the coronation. Then we get a Kabuki Warriors vignette and cut to backstage where Lyra and Tatum are talking about their title match. Jada Parker says she's going to whoop Gigi Dolan's ass, but Valkyria and Paxley are going to be embarrassed by the Kabuki Warriors. Ariana Grace steps up and tries to show that they shouldn't solve everything with fighting, and what even is their problem with the Kabukis? She gets thoroughly verbally slapped down by Parker and Valkyria both, and then we go to a commercial break. So we get a little more in this, building up to whatever is going to happen at the end of the show between Mello and Ilya. We get, a fine match for Lexis King and Von Wagner, which, Wagner kind of getting a little surprising win here. We get Robert Stone has been getting involved a little bit more in the physical aspect. So I don't know if they could be transitioning him from being like a manager back into a wrestler, I guess. And we get some build up here for the, tag title match next week, and Jada Parker getting involved in, and Ariana Grace still killing that character. So some fun stuff here. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Brooks Jensen going for Oba Femi was definitely a surprising thing that that they established. But I mean, it makes sense for him. He's trying to kind of establish himself, trying to the other two seem to be having some success without him, so he kind of wants to emerge as the guy on the team that also has some success as well. So it'd be an interesting match for sure. Vaughn versus Lexis was, the match was all right. I don't really get Vaughn going over. I guess he kind of won from a distraction, so I guess I can let that one go. I feel like Lexis is more of the guy that's going to upward trajectory. So it seemed kind of weird that he's now lost twice in a row. So, but obviously it's built into something with King versus Stone eventually. So we'll see where that one goes when we get to it as well. Yeah, everybody's shitting on Ariana. I don't really know if she should be a heel at this point because she's so positive and everybody just shits on her. So it makes for good, funny segments. But it's really funny for sure. And then did we talk about Jada and Gigi already? I forgot.
No, we're about to get to that. Match.
Okay, all right. And then the Dijak Gacy stuff continues to build.
Yeah. He's Dijak was arguing with Ava, where Joe rolls up and they continues to brawl. They just can't quit each other. We get Gigi versus Jada Parker. We get a waistlock standing switch to a side headlock, drop toe hold. Gigi with a front chancery, duck a lariat, arm drag, hip attack, lateral press. Parker out at 2, trading elbows, cover only 2, duck a lariat, right hands from Gigi. Ariana Grayson comes to ringside to beg them to stop fighting. They're wrestling. This is what they do. What the hell, lady? Come on. Then we get Gigi with a roundhouse kick. Parker ducks a ripcord, trading haymakers. Throat thrust from Gigi into Kawana kicks. Then we get Ariana up on the apron, grabbing Dolan's hand. She eats a headbutt. Gigi turns around and Jada drops her off the ropes. Jada Parker hits a sliding forearm, gets the pinfall. Post-match, Grace keeps weeping at Dolan about just getting along. We see the Metaphor No Quarter Catch crew walking backstage. They go to break. Back from break, we get a vignette with a slow pan over a beach where the word "see you soon" are written in the sand, which I don't remember that happening. And then we'll pause. No, we'll move on. We'll continue on. Sorry. We get the member of the No Quarter Catch crew challenging Noam Dar is Charlie Dempsey. So it's Charlie Dempsey versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup title, I guess, if that's what you call it. We get round 1. We get Charlie Dempsey winning the first pinfall with a bridging backslide, going up 1-0. In the second round, we get some action here, but nothing happens. No points are scored. Same in the third round. Fourth round, we get Noam coming hot out the gates, and he wins the second fall via pinfall with a Nova Roller, evening things up at 1-1. And we got round 5. Noam is looking to repeat his quick success with knee lifts. Miles Bourne and up on the apron. Oro Mensah takes him out, but gets equalized in turn. Back elbow from Noam. Gulak then saves Dempsey, and we get Charlie Dempsey winning the third and final fall via pinfall with a bridging dragon suplex, going 2-1 and winning the NXT Heritage Cup. Not a bad Heritage Cup match. Gigi versus Jada. It seems like Gigi has a lot of stop-starts with her win-loss record lately. I mean, Jada is still relatively new, so they want to get her some wins here. And we get this match. Like I said, wasn't bad. And out of the whole No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey's probably the one I would want to see in that match. Though, although with the rules, they're basically going to be doing Freebird rules with this Heritage Cup. It looks like going forward. All right. So, what are your thoughts on the two matches here?
Yeah, like I said with Jacy earlier, Gigi just kind of seems to be. She'll win every now and then, but it seems like she's been more used as kind of the build the new girl. They're starting to push as of late. So it's sad to see that that's kind of like what her position's become. They obviously trust her as an established girl, so it does make sense for that to be her role. But I would have always wished that she would have been higher up at the card at this point, but. I'll digress.
Your beloved Gigi.
Yeah, my beloved Gigi. I'll digress for now. And then, like you said, of the no quarter catch crew guys, Dempsey, he's always been one that I think I want to see emerge a little bit more because I think he definitely is a talented guy. Kind of stuck with all these jamokes.
Basically.
In this group. But I thought this Heritage Cup match was pretty good. Probably one of the better ones we've seen. Like I said, like I've always said, it works better in this, NXT arena kind of situation, better than it does in those big arenas for the PLEs, which is unfortunate, but I do think they're good TV matches. But yeah, I thought Dempsey really emerged here, and obviously he won the Heritage Cup, but they're going to do this no quarter catch clause to where any of them can defend it on any given night. So I don't know how they're going to establish that based on matchups and size or something like that, but we'll kind of see how it goes whenever they do defend it for the first time.
All right. So we get back from commercials. Shawn Spears is interviewed in the parking lot. Says he likes Ridge Holland, but he's been lying to himself, and now the truth that is the pain that he feels, and that's why he attacked him, and that they'll see him next week. We get Roxanne storming past, refusing to do an interview. We get the ring set up for the Carmelo Hayes contract signing. Carmelo starts talking, says it's great that they're finally speaking the same language and don't mind his security. Dragunov says he used to be shocked by Carmelo's blatant transparency, but now he realizes that it's just who he is and that he's willing to discard everyone for the title. Melo says the only difference between them and he is that he does it a lot cooler. Then we get the D'Angelo family entering. Melo tells Tony to stuff it, and Adon says he's here to do business, and he's the only guy who can solve this. He's got respect for both of them, and he likes Trick too, and he unloads on Melo when he tries to interrupt, telling him he's had a year and he's still stuck on this title. He tells Dragunov that he dresses like a champion, but he's a little too intense, and he's going to speak harshly because he knows he can handle it, but Melo should put his earmuffs on. He speaks plainly that he wants to take the title from him, not Carmelo, and he's earned everything he has, and everyone that's crossed him got what they had coming. Carmelo is here demanding a title match, and he'll earn a title match at Stand Deliver. But he'll earn a title match at Stand Deliver. Ilya says he's piqued his interest, and he respects that he's willing to work for his position. Tony says Ava agrees if he does, and it'll be Carmelo Hayes versus Tony D'Angelo next week. Winner fights Ilya at Stand Deliver. Ava says ultimately it's up to Ilya who he wants to defend the title against. Dragunov says he'd love to see Melo have to earn something, gives Tony his match, asking him to please whoop that Melo. Hayes is apoplectic and calls Ilya a coward before changing tactics. Sorry, words are hard. Changing tactics and saying D'Angelo, it's hard to speak with words on screen, on page, and microphone. Saying D'Angelo can't beat him. If we need somebody to take out the trash or run the books for some washed-up school, he's your man. But when it comes to the NXT Championship, Melo's your Don. Tony accidentally elbows Ilya. He turns in shock, and Hayes slams him through the table and signs the contract over him before throwing the title belt at Ilya. So, hot finish here to the show. We get Tony D kind of getting involved in the middle of this in the title because, really, Tony. I mean, they foreshadowed it earlier with Tony establishing himself. And the guy's been around. He's really improved. He had the nice tag run with Stax, and I'm here for this. I think Melo is just biding his time till he's on SmackDown full time. So I kind of dig this direction they're going, and I'm anxious to see what's going to happen. So, what are your thoughts on the close of the show?
Yeah, we were always wondering where Ilya was going to end up on a Stand and Deliver because it seemed obviously Trick Melo is the matchup that I think we were obviously going to get. So whether it was for the title or whether it was just a grudge match was definitely based on the result of the match that was supposed to be the next week after what we're covering right now. So, but I mean, adding Tony D in there, they did a great job in this segment. I think, if you had any doubts about how good Tony D is on the mic and, how good he is at, or, how good he is at getting himself over in this kind of situation and making himself feel like he's, he's not below these guys in any shape, form, or fashion. Like, he definitely put himself over. I've seen nothing but people like super excited for him and thinking that he's done a really great job since they've kind of established him in this spot. So super happy for the guy. Like you said, he's been around since 2.0 started, and he's come a long way. So looking forward to him and Melo the next week. Are talking about it at least.
yeah, it's going to be a fun one. And that moves on to that next week, which is from March 5th, which was AKA Roadblock. Gotta say, before we talk about it, probably one of the best NXT episodes in a long time. I think I really enjoyed this show. We get Lexis King as the hype man for the night with a video package that gets us ready for what we're going to see. First match, hot out the gates. We got Dijak versus Joe Gacy in an Asylum match, basically a cage. And we get Gacy hot out the gates, a spritz of fire extinguisher. Dijak whips him hard into the steel. We get a Death Valley driver, cover for two. Dijak goes after a crate that reads "Do not open," but Joe cuts him off and throws him into the steel a few times. Back to the crate, Dijak opens it and gets punched in the stomach by a boxing glove. We get fire extinguisher again, Death Valley driver from Gacy. We get Dijak perches atop the cage, hits a sick moonsault off the top of the cage, but Gacy kicks out, putting Joe into a straitjacket. Donovan leads a door in the corner. Gacy pops up, German suplex. He gets a table adorned with a smiley face out, sets it up, but Dijak wallops him with a chair, and he goes back to the straitjacket. Then we get Gacy fighting away in the corner, elbows from Donovan, setting him up top. Joe then knocks him off through the table, Santana Atomico. No dice. We get Dijak blindfolding with duct tape and waxing with a kendo stick, looking for a side Russian leg sweep, but Joe kicks him low and hits the Uranagi. Still nothing. And we get Gacy whipping him with a stick, but Dijak throws him through the door. We get a feast your eyes connecting, but Joe pops right back up. Dijak hits him with a second one, and we get Dijak scoring the pinfall with a second feast your eyes. This was a batshit crazy cage match. Really enjoyed it. Dijak was a beast in this. That moonsault was pretty sick. I really thought this was a great start to the show. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, this is your regular NXT opener that's wild and fast paced and crazy. So definitely a really wild and awesome match. Super fun to watch. I love the obsession with the duct tape in this rivalry. I think at the Vengeance Day match, Dijak got his eyes duct taped, and then Dijak duct tapes Gacy's eyes here in this one. I also like that they pulled the GCW door out into the match as well. Good to see the doors getting used on a more mainstream TV situation. But yeah, just a batshit crazy match. These guys have good chemistry, and both of these guys work best in these kind of weapons brawls kind of matches for sure. So I'm not sure that this is the payoff. It sure would seem like it would be, but we'll see if they continue to march forward with this, or if this was kind of the end. But definitely interested to see where both of these guys split off from here, if this is the end, because they really impressed me in this rivalry that I really wasn't expecting much from.
Oh yeah. No, it's been fun. I mean, they've been beating the snot out of each other basically, and it's just gotten crazier every time. All right. Yep. So we go to Adriana Rizzo giving Tony D a pep talk. We got Stacks rolls up to join her. Tony says he's got the title in his sights, and they welcome Luca Cristofino into the room. Luca says straight up, no BS. He needs a consigliere if the family is going to be the most dominant force in NXT. Luca says he's in. They shake and kiss on it. And we get Fallon Henley chatting with Riley Osborne backstage and thanks him for talking to Thea Hale. She says Thea just got some bad advice. Blair Davenport then rolls up to mock her and tells her to stay out of people's business. We got Lyra getting ready when Tatum rolls up to be weird at her. Lyra reminds her that she needs to be realistic. Remember that they have more of a professional relationship. Tatum says that she needs to win tonight and she will do anything when she's champion. She will journey to the farthest and darkest and take her opponent's souls out until they're screaming in agony. Lyra asked if she'd do that for her or for the titles, and Paxley asks if it matters and skips away. All right, and we move on to our next match, which is Chase U, Andre Chase and Duke Hudson going on against the Wolf Dogs, Braun and Baron for the NXT tag team titles. We got Chase and Corbin in the start. Baron with a shove and taunts Andre, takes him right down into a schoolboy for two, shoulder block off the ropes, back suplex, lift drop into a face buster. Breaker tags in off the ropes, shoulder block, fired up. We get an assisted gut buster. Duke breaks it up and the match breaks down. Chase with kicks from the apron, fired up somersault senton to the floor. We get Corbin grinding Chase down in the middle of the ring. Tag to Braun, German suplex dropped into an ace crusher but only two. Duke tags in, big boot for Braun, flip flop fly for Baron. Axe bomber follows, whip across, breaker ducks, a lariat, blind tag. We get a boss man slam. Corbin then comes in, side slam only two. Match breaks down, trading punches. Chase knees, breaker to the floor, but Baron hip tosses him into the turnbuckles. Hip toss to the floor, uppercut from the floor, and we get throwing Braun into the steel steps. Andre back up top, diving cross body. We get a super kick. Corbin falls into a tag. Braun takes advantage. And we get the Wolf Dogs winning via pinfall with a spear from Braun Breaker and Andre Chase, retaining the NXT Tag Team titles. I thought this was a fun match. I thought Chase U had a good showing in this against these two hosses, basically. I thought for a moment I didn't think we were going to get a title change, but I think they kind of teased us a little bit. And we also had some backstage stuff between Fallon kind of pleading the case here. We get the D'Angelo family growing by one with Luca Crucifino, which I think is a nice addition to the family there, because every mob family needs a consigliere. So
of course.
he got his yeah. Yep. So yeah, I watched The Sopranos. Come on. And then we get Lyra and Tatum. So what are your thoughts here on this match and some of this backstage stuff?
Yeah, I've always been in favor of the D'Angelo family kind of growing. So good to see them get another member and kind of a legal guy up in there, the consigliere, of course.
You're Silvio.
Yeah, exactly. Then we move on. Fallon talks to Riley, kind of try to get him to consider going out with Thea again, because Thea got some bad advice, obviously. And then Lyra and Tatum continuing their stuff. Lyra kind of keeping Paxley in check to get ready for their big title match tonight. So another solid little segment between them two. And then, the tag title match was really good. Chase U's awesome baby faces in these situations and in these matches. You always believe that they have a chance to win, but and that it always feels like a big gut punch when they don't win, because they just have the crowd so behind them and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Baron and Braun, I think if they lose, they're going to lose on a little bit bigger of a stage than just a TV match. But they made you believe that Chase U had a chance, without a doubt. So really good match.
All right. So we got Carmelo Hayes backstage, interviewed with a row of security guards and tactical vests behind him. He asked when he's back down, when he's ever back down from a fight, much less one that he already agreed to. Says Tony D'Angelo will come out and do what he has to do what he does, make a rent-a-cop security disappear, which is why he hired handpicked security to protect him. And that NXT championship is reserved for the biggest star in NXT, and there's none bigger than he. He's the one that's going to make history and go back-to-back and stand and deliver, because he is him. We get Shawn Spears walking backstage as we go to break. We come back. We got Shawn Spears versus Uriah Connors, who I believe is Finley's son, from what I was reading.
That's correct.
All right. So we get with Shawn coming out with the chair, kind of keeping some of the gimmick with the chairman thing he was doing in AEW, and we got Shawn Spears basically just demolishes him in like no time with a C4. We get he then gets on the mic, talks about how we're all fake hypocrites, and calls Ridge Holland out. Ridge enters and he goes right at it and beats him down, slinging him across the ring. Spears then throws him a chair and tells him to finish him, but referees swarm to talk him down before he can. Ridge leaves with his head in his hands as Spears laughs about it. Then we get Briggs rolling up on Jensen backstage, asks if he's sure about fighting Oba Femi next week. Brooks says he's taking control of his career and his life. Josh triggers something in him, and whether he wishes him luck or not, he's going to stand across from Oba, ready to bust him up and become champion. Briggs wishes him well before he leaves. And we get Dijak rolling up and accuses Briggs of lying to his face. And we get Ilya Dragunov backstage. He says, when you're the NXT champion, you can't be surprised by anything, but he likes Tony D'Angelo. He's a man with a vision. He doesn't take anything away from Carmelo Hayes' athletic ability, but he likes seeing him squirm. Then we get Stax and Luca rolling up to say that one way or the other, Tony D will see him at Stand and Deliver. So we get a lot of backstage stuff here. We get, Shawn Spears in his first match here, basically with a squash. We continue him and Ridge and kind of him messing with Ridge, so to speak. We get, building up a little bit to Jensen to next week. We get Dijak kind of sticking his nose in it, and we get some Dragunov kind of talking about his two prospective opponents. All right, and what are your thoughts on this little part of the show?
Yeah, I mean, just starting with Carmelo, just establishing that, last week, I don't think we talked about it, but Tony D had kind of paid off the security to kind of back off when he needed them to. He just snapped his fingers and they disappeared. So Carmelo has his hand-picked guys this week, so they don't turn on him like they did the previous week. But good to see Brogan Finley is his real name. He's Fit Finley's son. That he plays Uriah Connors here, but he's kind of an independent guy that's been around for a minute. So good to see him finally debut. I know they signed him a couple months ago, but yeah, obviously just to establish Shawn Spears here, his first match, get him a win, a quick squash over a new guy. So, and then he seems to be playing mind games with Ridge, trying to get an aggressive side out of him that Ridge is trying to compress a little bit. So good to see this. I do like the way that they're doing this. I don't know that these are two guys matching up are like the most exciting thing I can think of, but the mind games are good by Spears here for sure. And then Brooks having the conversation with Briggs backstage before his big match with Oba Femi next week, kind of talking about, he knows that Oba's a monster, but like you said, Briggs kind of triggered something in him, and Brooks wants to establish himself and become a North American champion. So yeah, that's exciting. We'll see kind of where it goes from there, but seeing those two guys on TV together is never a bad thing. And then Ilya and Tony kind of talking to each other. Tony's, says, no matter what, you're going to see me in a title match at Stand and Deliver. So definitely gets you excited for the idea that match may happen.
All right. Very good. So we move on to our next match, which is for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The Kabuki Warriors making their way to the NXT arena to face Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. We get Asuka and Lyra to start, test of strength, struggling on the mat, arm lock cover from Valkyria. The Empress ducks a kick and backs off, tag to Kyrie. Paxley is in as well, trading forearms in the middle of the ring. Asuka takes Tatum out with a sliding knee and tags her in right after. Quick tags, working her over. Camera cuts backstage to Thea Hale fighting with two other women. Cut back, challengers make a comeback, stereo wrecking ball, drop kicks, and we go to break. I really love there was a nice little spot in this where Kyrie, who's kind of, her character is a little crazy, a little nutty, and her and Tatum kind of like having like a crazy off a little bit at one point in the match, which I really enjoyed that part of it. And we get Kyrie has an ankle lock in on Tatum. She ducks an enziguri. Tatum then crawls under and makes the tag. Diving cross body, lariats. Tatum then takes Asuka out with a Death Valley driver. Lyra with a fisherman buster, Northern Light suplex with the bridge, but Kyrie kicks out. Back and forth, whip across, boot up. Asuka tags in, hits a code breaker, running blockbuster from Kyrie. A grounded total elimination. Paxley breaks it up. Kyrie and Tatum then brawl to the floor. Asuka with a waistlock. Valkyria grabs the ropes. Pump kick. Gets a roundhouse. Alarm clock connects. Asuka then ducks under. Waistlock. Roll through. Enziguri connects. Tatum then tags in. Arm wringer. Backbreaker. Lyra off the top. Demolition decapitation. But Kyrie breaks it up. Strike rush from Lyra as she accidentally takes Paxley out with a kick. And Kyrie with a Hurricane Buzzsaw roundhouse kick from the Empress Tomorrow. Tag made. And we get the Kabuki Warriors winning by a pinfall, retaining their WWE Women's Tag Team Championship with the diving elbow inverted DDT combination on Tatum Paxley. Post-match, Roxanne hits the ring and lays Lyra out with a divorce court before posting her into the turnbuckles a few times, bending her arm over the bottom rope, double stomp, arm breaker over the bottom rope. Lyra is screaming in agony. He said it's out, and we go to break. Back from commercial, we get a somber voice recap of what we just saw in footage from the break of Shawn Michaels overseeing her being stretched out into an ambulance and driven off. So this was a fun match. Really enjoyed it. The Kabuki Warriors are awesome. You have your beloved Gigi. I have my beloved Kyrie. I really do enjoy her. And I think she's so great. I mean, I liked her as a heel, as a face, but as a heel with those evil laughs and that kind of making her a little bit batshit crazy. Yeah. I really enjoy the character. I think, again, Tatum is showing that she belongs, with the big girls, and she's really stepped it up. And this was a fun match. Obviously, you knew that Lyra and Tatum were not going to win the tag titles here, but they did put in a really, really good showing, and we get basically the final straw of Roxanne's heel turn, and that's pretty much cemented here with this attack on Lyra. So, what are your thoughts on the match and the post-match beatdown that Roxanne puts on Lyra?
Yeah, you knew Paxley and Lyra weren't going to win here, but it definitely established them. They put in a good effort for sure. Like you said, I did enjoy the kind of bat shit off that that Kyrie and Tatum had.
The crazy chick standoff.
Yeah. Real good stuff. Definitely a good spot in the match that only those two crazy chicks could do. But yeah, in a way, this match was really good, but it was mostly to kind of set you up for that post-match attack from Roxanne, which kind of finally puts the nail in the coffin of her babyface turn or babyface run. She seems to have gone full heel here because she really went after Lyra and tried to break her arm seemingly. So yeah, I think this is a full heel turn here. And kind of her really establishing that, and obviously that kind of paints a picture of where we may be headed for Stand and Deliver. We've kind of Lyra's another one we've kind of been wondering who she might face because obviously they face each other at Vengeance Day as well. So, but it was a good match there with the add of Lola Vice. But I think them having a one-on-one match could be definitely an exciting way to go. So. The attack was really good, but the match was great as well.
All right. Move on to our next match, which is Blair Davenport versus Fallon Henley. Davenport with a side headlock. Henley reverses into a key lock, sliding leg pick, big right hand, leg scissors press, only for 2. Blair with an arm wringer over the ropes, back inside, Fujiwara armbar applied, roll through, up kick, back elbow, Fallon throwing elbows and lariats to try and come back. We get a whip to the corner, off the ropes, spine out, face buster cover to the floor. Henley sidesteps and Blair knees the steel steps. Sol Ruca returns with a cartwheel DDT off the barricade and throws her back inside. And we get Fallon Henley winning via pinfall with a sliding knee with an assist from Sol Ruca. We go backstage. Jacy Jayne is berating Andre Chase and Duke Hudson for losing the tag title match as she got them. Thea then rolls up excited about her brawl with Kiana and Izzy backstage, says she thinks that she has a tag match next week now. Jacy asks who's she going to tag with. Hale says Jacy, and Jane says nope, she's busy. We get the No Quarter Catch Crew shining the NXT Heritage Cup backstage. We go to break. We get Ava Raine telling Gigi Dolan that Ariana Grace won't fight her, and she won't book the match because Grace has promised to just run away. We get Ariana rolling up, confirming she doesn't want to fight. Gigi tells her that she's in for an ass kicking. Grace chides her for her potty mouth and decides that she'll take the match as long as it means she gets to take Dolan and bring her out her true inner beauty and get rid of that vulgar language. Gigi accepts and Ariana skips away. And then Shawn Spears interviewed on his way out the building, talks more cryptic business about Ridge Holland. So we had a nice little match here. Blair versus Fallon. Fallon getting the surprise win, I guess, so to speak. Fallon has really moved into that, that elder stateswoman on the babyface side, kind of being there whenever I guess somebody needs them. And everybody, Blair's sins of her past are coming back. I thought Saul looked good. I thought it was maybe a little on the sloppy side, what she hit on Blair, but it's good to see her back. Hopefully, she doesn't get hurt again, because I know those knee injuries can ask what's her face, the girl with the prettiest shiniest wizard there. Oh, Tegan, Tegan, that could happen. So just be careful. And more backstage stuff. The whole JC Thea thing is still going on, and we were leading into what will be an interesting match, which we have kind of a feeling that once there's a stipulation like this, we kind of have a feeling where the match will probably end up going. All right, so what are your thoughts on this match, the return of Saul, and the kind of a lot of focus on the ladies here in this little part here between the the Thea JC stuff and the Ariana Gigi stuff?
Yeah, they do a really good job of featuring the women a lot on these episodes, even if it's just in short little segments or maybe a shorter match here and there. But they do a really good job on most weeks featuring them a lot. Yeah, Fallon getting the win kind of surprised me, but I obviously wasn't expecting Soul to come back either. It's good to see her back. Like you said, the move she hit on Blair was kind of sloppy. Not maybe the best entrance back in, but definitely good to see her back. She was really starting to emerge when she got hurt. So hopefully she can pick up where she left off and can stay healthy this time. We'll see. It didn't work out for Nikita Lyons, so hopefully it works out for Soul. Like you said, Thea needs a tag team partner because Jacy doesn't seem to want to tag with her anymore because she's busy or whatever. So interesting to see who Thea picks up as a tag team partner to take on Izzy and Kiana. And then freaking Ariana kills me in these segments where she tries to be like the moral compass and all that, and tries to get Gigi on the straight and narrow and get her to not use such foul language and stuff like that. I'm interested to see if this kind of becomes a partnership or something that they may establish going forward with them too. Could be super interesting. And then, like you said, Shawn Spears kind of getting more in Ridge's head. So we'll see where that one goes as we continue.
Is Nikita's hurt again?
I think she hurt something else. Not like real bad. Not real bad, but like it wasn't like another knee injury or anything like that. But yeah, she came back and it was like a shoulder or something. But it's not a bad injury. It's just, they hadn't found her spot back in yet.
Oh boy. All right. Anyway, so we move on to the no quarter catch crew in the ring. Drew Gulak says, now the whole world sees what they see in Charlie Dempsey. And Dempsey talks about how the Heritage Cup lines up with his vision for the true nature of our sport. It's not just his prize. And he hands it to Gulak. Damon Kemp explains that they're holding the cup as a collective and any of them can defend it. Drew says that they're entering themselves in the NXT Tag Team Elimination Tournament to earn a title shot at Stand and Deliver. And then some familiar music hits. And the long-awaited return to television, been back with the company for about a year, but through his deal with leaving AEW, William Regal makes his entrance, mic in hand. He says it's delightful to see us all again, and he gets in the ring to "That's Your Father" chants. He says the Heritage Cup means the world to him, and he hopes that they'll defend it with integrity it deserves. Dempsey then steps up and says he'll defend it better than he ever could, and Regal says he'll be watching. Then Vic Joseph makes it a little weird by saying that Charlie isn't too old for his dad to give him a spanking, according to the author of this write-up. Then we got, those are not my words, I have to plagiarize, though. So the metaphor now trying to console Noam Dar, and Lash Legend says she can't do this again until his Oro Mensah called Jakara Jackson and let her know. Lash sits down, checks on him, and he wakes up and says the past is the past. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. We see our main event walking backstage. We go to break, back for commercial, and angry Robert Stone watches Alexis King promo, and Von Wagner promises to smash him. But then Stone says it's personal, and he needs Wagner to step aside so he can fight King himself for his family's honor. Conveys how serious it is to him, and Von accepts. We get a recap of Roxanne attacking Lyra earlier. So we get some, the no quarter catch crew kind of explaining themselves a little bit, which, they are duller than dirt. I mean, Charlie has some personality. I think Damon Kemp, he gets on the mic, and I'm just like, just stop talking. I mean, Miles Bourne, he's very, forgettable, so to speak, I guess. He doesn't really stand out. Gulak is fine. He's a veteran. He's a hand. He's a guy that, probably brings more value backstage than he does, on camera. So I could see why he's around. But, it was really good to see Regal back. And, continuing on with the, now the metaphor kind of stuff here. And setting up Robert Stone versus Alexis King for the following week. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gulak's another one of those, performance center guys. He's really good to have around. He may not be super flashy in the ring, but he knows the ins and outs of how to get over and how to work in the ring really well. So I think he's definitely a good veteran presence to have down there. But yeah, good to see Regal back and kind of interacting with his son. I'm sure that was a thing that they really really had a good time with. And the fans chanted "That's your father" at him, so I thought that was really funny. But yeah, Damon's terrible, and Miles is just kind of milk toast, and there's nothing really special about him that they've established so far. So I mean, you don't really care about them too. But Gulak, has been around for a while, can be entertaining, and Charlie seems like a good prospect that they could go forward with. So we'll see what they do with this Heritage Cup championship with them. Good to see Noam kind of snap out of his haze and at least establish that maybe he's going to move on from the Heritage Cup and do something else. He's been doing that for damn near like 4 years at this point with UK and now regular NXT. So he's been in that Heritage Cup situation for a long time. So it's good to see him kind of establish that he seems to be going in a different direction. So and then Mr. Stone obviously wants a match with Lexis King, and we'll see where that kind of leads to next week.
All right. So we're on to our main event, which is the NXT Championship #1 Contenders match, Carmelo Hayes versus Tony D'Angelo. We get Tony hot out the gate here, shoulder blocks, roll through, back body drop, another back body drop, a near fall, front chancery, and body blows from the Don right into the half house suplex, passing punch to the head, throwing Hayes to the apron, and he hip checks him into the arms of the waiting security. Tony then jawing at Mello, and we go to break. Back from commercial, Hayes is on the comeback. Top wrist lock applied. Tony out throwing hands, dropping him with a right hook. Whip reverse with a knee lift. D'Angelo fired up, belly-to-belly suplex, sets up a spine buster, and a moment of silence. Then we get Hayes with a shoulder arm breaker, a couple of kicks to the injured arm. Tony rolls into the arm, but it gives out. And then we get final cut from Mello. Cover, nope. And we get a Fujiwara armbar applied off the second. When that doesn't work, Tony D then catches him with a powerbomb up top for nothing but net, but Trick Williams music hits. Security guards stare up the entry. Carmelo turns around right into a spine buster, and Tony D wins via pinfall with Forget About It, becoming #1 contender to the NXT Championship. Post-match, Tony apologizes for the stunning pull, but says he's giving a Don. So he's a giving Don. So he gives Mello a present, and Trick Williams is here, and he's throwing hands. He cleans house of security and turns around so hard that Hayes runs scared. So Trick makes his triumphant return after a really great match with Tony D going over. So it's a nice kind of a fresh challenger here for Ilya. So looking forward to that. Really enjoyed this match. I love where they're going. Our good friend Jay Arsenio D'Amato had said over the last few weeks that Mello and Trick does not have to have the title involved in it to be a really awesome, probably main event of Stand and Deliver. So he was right on the money there with his prediction because neither guy is going to be in the title match. So yeah, I thought this was, again, like I said at the top, this was probably one of the best episodes in a long time of an NXT show because it was obviously has a subtitle title to it, Roadblock. But no, this was fun. All the matches were pretty good to great, and I really enjoyed this main event. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this was really good, and I never thought Mello and Trick really needed the belt, but I thought maybe the belt needed it because I figured whatever maybe they gave Ilya instead was just going to feel forced and kind of lamer in the grand scheme of things. But they've done a great job over these last 2 weeks, adding Tony D into the situation, him earning it. Having a great match with Mello here. So I'm all in on this Tony D push and getting him into the title match. It doesn't all. I mean, if you watch this contract signing, maybe feels a little bit forced, but like I said, his promo during that was so good, and he was so believable and all that. And then he even knocks that out of the park here in this match. finishing him with the "Forget About It." I have a review pulled up, and seeing that spelled makes me feel very bad for the autocorrect that I'm sure this person had to deal with a million times, having to type that out. So, but yeah, really great match, really good establishment, and obviously Trick comes back, so he gets in Melo's head, and obviously he's going to eventually face off with him at some point. So. Good to see Trick back, and good to see Tony D emerge here. So really good way to end the show.
Well, they have it spelled out, forget about it, but not the, forget about it. Hey, yo, Paisan, how you doing? All right. I've known a few Tony D's in my life. All right. So moving on to the last show we're going to cover on this episode, which was from actually last night as we record, from March 12th. So show opens with a recap of last week's show, and we move on to our opening match, which is a NXT Tag Team Championship #1 Contenders qualifying match. So I believe they're building to a triple threat. So whoever wins these 3 qualifying matches will meet, and then the winner of that match will become the team that will be challenging the Wolf Dogs at Stand and Deliver. So our first 2 teams out the gate are the Latino World Order, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde versus Out the Mud, Bronco Nima and Luchin Price with scripts. We get OTM out of the gates, and they remain in control as we go to break. Back from commercial, Wilde tags in Del Toro, lighting up Price, duck a lariat, tilt-a-whirl, snake eyes, missile drop kick for 2. The match breaks down as OTM break up a pin. The LWO is working fast, which is their strength. And we get the LWO winning via pinfall with a 450 splash from Joaquin Wilde on Bronco Nima, and they qualify for the triple threat #1 Contenders match. Then we get a pre-tape of a confident Oba Femi getting confronted by Brooks Jensen with Josh Briggs trying to talk his pal down as Oba tells Briggs to watch what happens tonight. And then we go to break. So, fun match to start off. I kind of was a little surprised at the outcome. I thought Out the Mud was probably going to win this, but, the LWO has been killing it, and they've been really over with the crowd. Underrated performers who are really starting to get, a little bit of shine here. Whether they win the tag belts, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. But, fun match, quick team versus a powerhouse team. And we get, more build for this Oba Brooks Jensen match. So what are your thoughts on the start of the show?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised to see LWO win. As I've always said, I like the guys. They're super talented. Probably not pushed enough on the main roster, but good to see them get featured here and get some wins and get featured in some of these tag title matches, tag title feuds over the last few months, being in the Dusty Cup and all that. But I definitely thought OTM would win here just because they're the more NXT team of the 2, I guess. Because LWO is on SmackDown as well. But the eventual triple threat that they'll have, LWO will be a good team to kind of have in there. But yeah, this is one of OTM's best matches for sure. That they've just, it's kind of been a regular tag team match. They've been involved in a couple of 4-ways that have been pretty good. But I think this is probably one of their best, just straight up tag matches. So. Really good performance by both teams. And yeah, just more hype to Brooks taking on Oba Femi later. Really hyping that up to be Brooks' kind of big shot to establish himself. So, but we'll talk about the match later in the episode.
All right. So we go back from commercial. Thea is chatting with Andre Chase about how they haven't talked in a while, and he says that he's there for her. And she shows them Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix are hanging out without her, and talks how she's an adult and she doesn't need them, and introduces Kalani Jordan as her tag partner tonight. Then we get to the ring, and Roxanne Perez is in there and on the mic, and she says last week she got so sick and tired of playing by the rules, and she justifies her heel turn as a natural conclusion of her collapse and the pressure of carrying the division, and how she doesn't care about what anyone thinks anymore. She says thanks to her, we've witnessed the rise and fall of Lyra Valkyria, and calls Ava Rain out to strip Lyra the title and award to her. Ava says that last year they waited to see the full extent of her injuries while she wasn't general manager time. She does think. And then we get Tim Paxley rushing out of the crowd to attack Roxanne, but security gets the better of her. We move on to Lexis King making his entrance as we go to break. We come back from commercial. We get the D'Angelo family eating at their restaurant. They talk up Lusa Crucifino, their new consigliere, and he says he's got that thing, And that other thing done, the guy, that place, the time. They talk about Tony D's title shot, Stand and Deliver. Then we get Ilya Dragunov rolling up and congratulates Tony. And it says he has everything, but all Ilya has is the title. No other deals are focused. No matter what Tony does, the title will stay with him. Tony then tells him no matter what happens here, he likes him. And Luca and Stax come out from back to rough the champion up. They then put him in the trunk of the car and they take him for a ride. So, we get what they don't. I don't know. I don't know if they know what they're messing with there. But we get some more Thea and Jacy stuff. We get Kalani Jordan as going to be her partner later in the night versus Kiana and Izzy. We got Roxanne with the explain yourself promo basically in the ring after somebody has a turn. We get Tatum trying to say get involved here, and we get the D'Angelo family doing a little talking, and Ilya steps into basically the lion's den, so to speak, and he pays for it. So what are your thoughts on all this jazz that's happening here?
Yeah, I love Tony D going full mafia here for this rivalry with Dragunov to give it a little extra flavor. But yeah, Thea picking Kalani as her partner was not a surprise. Obviously that Jacy and Jasmine kind of gypped her and gone and hung out on their own without Thea, so not surprising that she picked Kalani. But Roxanne's promo obviously establishing why she did what she did. In a way, she's probably justified that she never really got her shot once she got injured last year. That it all kind of ties back to how the title was kind of taken from her and she never really lost it. So in a way, obviously she went about it the wrong way from a human perspective, but in her mind, she's doing the right thing for her at least. So it seems somewhat justified in her mind at least. And those are the best bad guys, is the ones that they're wrong in a way, but they have their right parts of why they're doing what they're doing. And then, like I said, the Tony D stuff with going super mafia, locking him in the trunk, and we'll get to a later part of their later scene that they're in together. But establishing the restaurant and having the whole family there was a super good segment for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. And we on to our next match, which is Lexis King versus Robert Stone. Stone hard out of the gates, punching up a storm. King throws him to the floor, back in. And we get Robert with a plancha, Stone up, nobody homed on a splash. Lexis then clobbers him with a running knee, putting boots to him. Big knee lifts. Robert then makes a valiant comeback, diving crossbody for a near fall, but King reasserts himself, and he gets the win via pinfall with the coronation. Post-match, he wants to hit a second one, but Von Wagner saves his buddy. We get Oba Femi interviewed backstage, says he's going to slaughter Brooks Jensen. Dijak says once he's playing around, he can come see him for a real challenge. We get Oba making his entrance. We go to break. Then we get Ridge Holland when we come back from commercial, working out. Phone rings. He gets on FaceTime with his wife and his daughter. Then we get Brooks Jensen versus Oba Femi for the NXT North American Championship. We get a feeling out and then a big headlock takeover from Oba. We see Josh Briggs watching backstage as Femi then grinds the hold in. We get a stalemate. We go to a commercial break, and then we come back with Brooks with a schoolboy for two and a drop kick that sends Femi out to the floor, diving elbow off the apron. Then we go back inside. The rally doesn't last, and Oba cuts him off with a corner uppercut. Then we get Briggs coming to ringside to give Brooks a pep talk. He breaks a chin lock, snap, scoop, power slam, only for two. We get Oba powering up and chucking Jensen across the ring with a release powerbomb, drawing him up, looking Briggs in the eye and laughing, a second powerbomb, toying with him, more powerbombs, and we get Oba Femi winning via pinfall with a powerbomb, retaining the NXT North American Championship. We go back to the Don and Ilya. We get Tony D getting him out of the trunk of his car at a bridge that he throws people off at, which is, kind of a crime. But anyway, he talks about how we brought him here to show him the gravity of the situation. Dragunov tells him that he always finds a way. All right, so we had a couple of matches here. We got Lexis King versus Robert Stone. Lexis King, could use the guy right now. the wins and losses don't matter that much, although it's good to see him get a win, even if it is over Robert Stone, kind of building up a little bit more to whatever is going to happen with him and Vaughn at some point down the road. We get, Dijak kind of sticking his nose in Femi's business a little more. And then we get the little more Ridge, which, what are we doing? And then we get, Oba versus Brooks, which we knew it was going to be, an uphill battle for Brooks. And, Briggs is kind of sticking his nose in there. So I have my ideas that I'm going to share about the NXT North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. But what are your thoughts here on these two matches and the Tony D and the Ilya on the bridge?
Yeah, Lexus definitely needed a win. Like you said, it is only over Mr. Stone, but I think we'll obviously get another Lexus Vaughn match at some point. So maybe you can continue to build a little bit of a winning streak there, because he had lost a couple of matches before that. Ridge, like you said, whatever. Kind of, he's just training, talks to his wife and daughter and whatever. All that good stuff. So, whatever with him. But Oba and Brooks, like you said, Brooks was going to always be fighting an uphill battle in that one. But this is another situation where Oba just continues to look impressive as the champion, just showing his power and his strength and dominating most of the match. They gave Jensen enough offense, like I said, and one of Oba's previous matches to where you could believe that he may sneak it in somehow, but you always kind of thought that Oba was going to walk away at the same time, and I kind of got the same feelings that I think you had after the match with where they may go North American wise at Stand and Deliver. And then the bridge stuff was great. I'm glad he didn't throw him over like that. He didn't make him go swim with the fishes or whatever, but definitely seems like they're really getting behind Tony here. I'm not real sure where they're going to go with that match at Stand and Deliver, because I would have thought for sure, kind of as we started, that it would probably be Ilya retaining, but I might could see Tony taking it, honestly, if I'm being real with you.
All right. We'll be a little more real at the end after this in our predictions that are way too early to do. All right, so we go on to our next match, Ariana Grace versus Logan's beloved Gigi Dolan. We get Ariana running away from Gigi's hard right hands and out and back in. She gets caught, hip attack, sets up a drop kick for a cover. No Grace there. Ariana on the comeback, elbow drops into a rear chinlock. Ariana ends up trying to crown Gigi. The referee then takes the tiara away, and she mule kicks Gigi Dolan right in her lady business. And then Gigi then returns the favor and uppercuts her in her naughty bits in return. And we get Ariana Grace winning via disqualification, thus guaranteeing that she'll get to give Gigi Dolan a makeover to be a proper lady. I don't think I've ever seen a women's wrestling match with two low blows in it. Low blows are not really something that women do to each other in matches, so groundbreaking stuff here on NXT. All right. So we get Carmen Petrovic and Sal Ruka hanging out backstage when Lola Vice rolls up to trash talk Carmen, sets up a match for next week. Brinley Reese cartwheels in to talk about what a good job Sol did at de-escalating that fight, and Inoue and Blade arrived to cut her off, which I thought was pretty hysterical the way they did it. We get Izzy and Kiana making an entrance. We go to break. We get back from commercial. We get a pre-tape with Kalani Jordan, who's laid out clutching her knee, and Thea Hale has to go alone, except Fallon Henley is here to tag with her instead. So it moves on to our next match. We'll pause there for the match because we got a bit to talk about. So this Ariana and Gigi thing, it was kind of a mess. The low blow thing, I was kind of like sitting there like scratching my head. Like I said, I had never think in all the years I've been watching wrestling, it's very rare that you see the women do low blows, but two low blows in a match. I mean, I guess it kind of it saves Gigi from having to take a pin to Ariana in a way, but it also leads into with the stipulation there. We knew this was going to happen. We're going to get a taming of the shrew kind of thing happening, it looks like, with them. I like the backstage stuff. I mean, Carmen Petrovic and Lola Vice probably are two of the, up-and-comers in the women's division, so I'm excited to see them wrestle each other. the Brindley Reese thing, she's she's owning this peppy gimmick here. I like the way that, like I said, she was taken out here, and then we get, like I said a little earlier, we get Fallon Henley, who's basically been like the mother hen, I guess, of the women's division of NXT lately, stepping into tag with Thea, and we'll get to that match in just a moment after you give your thoughts on this last couple stuff.
Yeah, the Ariana Gigi match was kind of a mess. The double low blow thing was definitely an interesting way to go. Just because they don't have the kibble and bits that we have down there doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when they.
I know that. It's just it just caught me off guard.
I know. I just saw somebody point that out on Twitter last night when when it happened, and was like, just because we don't have anything down there like that, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. But I just wanted to point that out because I saw somebody say that for sure. But yeah, it definitely played into they don't want either to take a pin, but they kind of wanted the stipulation to pay off. So it'll be interesting to see what Ariana can do to make Gigi more ladylike. Definitely an interesting thing to look forward to there. Lola and Carmen, that match excites me for sure because those are two kind of up and comers, like you said, and the Brindley Reese thing was very funny, like you pointed out. And sad to see Kalani not be able to get into the match, but Fallon's a good replacement if it needed to happen.
All right, move on to our Fallon Henley and Thea Hale versus Izzy Dame and Kiana James. We get Henley and James to start, fast paced, as befitting rivals. Back foot for Kiana, tag to Dame, off the ropes, cracks the cross body, float over, step up, arm drag. Izzy then cuts her off, standing neck crank, and here comes Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix to watch the proceedings. Thea then gets the hot tag, fired up, world's strongest slam, front flip senton, springboard coffin drop. Izzy breaks it up, Kiana in, Thea counters with a powerbomb with a double wrist lock. Match then breaks down to the floor. Jacy accidentally knocks or moves Thea out of the way for Fallon to get. Is it Fallon? She pushes Fallon out of the way, and Thea takes a big boot. And we get Kiana James winning via pinfall with Kiana hitting the bankrupt on Thea Hale. Post-match at Thea asked Jacy what's wrong with her and what she did, and she finally thought she had somebody that she saw what she saw in her and herself, and she wanted to become, and she changed herself for her. She thought she was her sister, but she's wrong, and she's done. This isn't her, and she doesn't want to be anything like Jacy. She's sorry she's not cool enough for her toxic self, but that's fine, because the old Thea is back, bitch, and she starts running around like the rabid pit bull that she is. Riley Osborne is backstage cheering on her when the Norcora Catch Crew roll up on him. They say Thea reached her ceiling when she was with them, and Riley and his fancy moves have no place near this cup. Drew Gulak says, say the word, and he'll enact the cat's claws. Nathan Frazier and Axiom roll up, and they're tired of hearing about it, and they'll take two of them out, but the No Quarter Catch Crew insists they're making it to stay and deliver, and we go to break. Back from commercial, the Good Brothers talk about coming for the tag titles. Now they're going to beat Hank and Tank. And we get Hank and Tank with a counter promo, and the Wolf Dogs roll up confrontationally, but they quickly lighten up and get the two rookies hyped up, which I thought was a really fun section there with those two. I kind of like Hank and Tank. I mean, they need to get better in the ring, but I enjoy them. They're kind of I don't know, I guess a heavy machinery 2.0 feeling with those guys. And then we get so the women's tag match was fine. I mean, it was all really about moving the storyline forward with Thea and Jacy, and we get Izzy and Kiana continuing to get the victories, and we move with looks like we're setting up possibly a 6-man tag match between No Quarter Catch, Riley Osborne, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom, unless I think they're in tag matches, but we could see that at some point down the line. And yeah, what are your thoughts here on this part of the show?
Yeah, I think in the little tag tournament, Axiom and Nathan Frazier matched up with whoever the Catch Crew representatives are going to be.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
I think that's kind of why they threw them in there. But the tag match was fine. It, like you said, it was more about what happened afterwards. Thea taking the pin, and then obviously realizing that she needed to separate herself from Jacy. It's been a bad situation over the last few weeks, ever since Jacy kind of saved Chase U. So And Thea, just needing to separate herself because she hasn't been herself over the last month or so, and she's changed kind of how she's acted just to fit in, and that wasn't her, and that's not what she needs to be. So good to see like you said, the pit bull back, and then like we talked about Nathan Frazier and Axiom and Riley kind of talking to No Quarter Catch crew. Like I said, I think they matched it up in the tournament, but maybe we'll see a 6-man between all of them at some point, and we'll see kind of where that leads. And then the Good Brothers, obviously they're headed for the match with Hang and Tank. I think they'll pretty obviously advance in the tournament. Hang and Tank, like you said, kind of heavy machinery 2.0. Got a lot of energy, 2 really big Haas guys, but definitely need to improve in the ring a good bit before they can really be established as anything bigger than what they are right now.
All right. We'll on to our next match, which is Ridge Holland versus Shawn Spears. We get Ridge in control early, throwing hands to the floor. He hesitates, and Spears throws him into the post, and then we get Shawn tying him up in the ropes, drawing at him about disappointing his wife, but then Ridge gets fired up with lariats and throws Spears to the floor, throwing him into the barricade and then back inside, break the count, around for a shoulder block, and then into the stairs. Back and forth, trading bombs. Spears gets the better of him, and Shawn wins via pinfall when he hits like a kind of a suplex onto or a back dry drop onto a chair that had been left in the ring. Then we get our usual hype up for next week towards the end of the show, and then we get Trick Williams making his return to talk to the people. He says he usually steps in the ring with a microphone and does his thing, but today he's struggling to find the words. He's pissed off, angry, and he feels betrayed. Family means something to him, and when you say you're his brother, he takes food off his plate so you can eat. For 2 years, he watched Carmelo Hayes get every accolade in NXT with a smile on his face because that's what brothers do. He asks Melo why, he says he's not going to lie. Watching him succeed made him want to step up his game, to go to Shawn Michaels and ask what he needed to do to get to the next level, and that's when Trick Willie was born. He wanted him to be happy for him the same way he had been happy for Carmelo for years, and he's heard whispers that Carmelo wasn't happy until John Cena himself told him Melo was hating on him, and that's when he had to ask him face to face if he attacked him, and he looked him in the eye and lied to his face. Hayes has been lying for a long time, but it's cool. He found one time to tell the truth when he told everybody why he did what he did was because they're not on the same level, and he doesn't care if he stands on a step stool in boots with an afro. His little punk ass will never reach Trick's level. He had Melo's back, and Melo stabbed him in his, and at Stand and Deliver, they're going to have a match, and he's going to pay him back for everything he did with a little more on it. The whole crowd will be chanting, "Whoop that Trick." Then we get the metaphor coming in, which I did not see coming. Noam Dar says we're all sick and tired of hearing about how Melo smashed him up because he deserved it. Trick tells him he's not the same man he used to know and that he should say his business and leave. Noam says that they're not so different and they both lost important things lately, but he didn't cry about it. He made a big boy decision to move on to bigger and better things. Trick says he's not in the mood and tells him to leave him alone. Noam then says it's simple. He's here to steal all that hype, and nobody's higher than he is right now. Trick says he's giving away. Lash Legend is looking at him right now, and she says she needs to listen to Noam Dar. Before Dar says next week they're going to fight about, Williams takes the men out before sweeping Lash off her feet. She breathes heavy for a beat and kisses him. He lets her go so he can hit Oro Mensah and Noam Dar some more. The men of 4 regroup on the floor as Lash collects herself. So hot end to the show here. The Ridge Shawn match was fine. I think we're going to probably have more between the two of them. Mm-hmm. Trick, has the crowd in the palm of his hand and really hyping up, and we're going to get that Melo Trick match finally at Stand and Deliver. And then, the metaphor getting in there. And this is interesting little wrinkle here with Lash, because I think they're teasing kind of maybe a split or something with the metaphor. So I don't exactly know what's going to happen there, but I don't think anybody's going to be clamoring for a Lash Jakara Jackson match, but we could get that at some point. What are your thoughts on how the show closed with the match and then Trick and metaphor?
Yeah, a Trick versus Noah match definitely interests me. So I think we'll get that next week. I
Yeah.
think they pretty much established that. So that could be an interesting match for sure. I don't know about Lash. Like, I think the fans have kind of gotten behind her, and even the whole metaphor for the most part over the last month or so. So I could see her possibly maybe splitting off. But I don't think they need to necessarily do that per se. But I could definitely see it being something. I thought the Spears Holland match it kind of exceeded my expectations. It still wasn't like just great, but I thought it was a good match. It was a lot more hard hitting than I would have thought going in. They do the big table spot. I thought that was really cool. And Spears kind of overcomes that and still ends up winning. But yeah, Williams really establishes himself, establishes that him and Melo are headed for a confrontation, a big match at Stand and Deliver. So gives you that hype, that extra hype that you needed to get even more excited about that match, kind of where they've come from, kind of where they are now. And he'll get hopefully another win headed towards that match over Noam next week. So good way to finish the episode, without a doubt.
All right, so there you go with the shows we're covering tonight. So, like I said, we don't know. It's looking not likely. Logan's a busy guy, and he's he's going to Philly for WrestleMania. Are you going to Stand Deliver?
Yes, we are going to Stand.
All right. Awesome. So we got representation in there. So we'll get a live report from Logan probably on our next episode. But let's try to we have some ideas. Let's kind of break down what we know is going to happen, what we think is going to happen, and what we think will be the results. So obviously, I think this should be the main event, Melo Trick. I don't know if it'll be a loser leaves NXT match, possibly. I don't know if there'll be any other stipulations to this match. I mean, but as great as the NXT title match will be, this is the hot story, and this has got to be your main event. What do you think?
Yeah, this is kind of like Tommaso Ciampa versus Gargano was that one year. I mean, maybe not to that level, but it's definitely the hottest thing they have going. It's the match everybody wants to see. It's been the longest building story. So, if there's ever a point to not make the title match the main event, this is probably the one. So I definitely agree with you. I think it probably gets a stip of some sort. I don't know if it'll be loser leaves NXT or just kind of like a street fight, no holds barred kind of match. But I think it definitely gets some kind of stip to kind of give it a extra little bit of flavor.
All right. So we got the NXT Championship. We know it's going to be Ilya Dragunov defending against Tony D. What do you think? How's this going to go?
Like I said earlier, if you showed me this match, a month or two ago, I'd probably just been thinking, this is another challenger that Ilya is going to take down. But they've done a really good job of establishing Tony D over just a 2-3 week period that we've kind of talked about tonight. And I really think it really seems like they're getting behind this like real mafia family, D'Angelo family kind of situation with bringing the consigliere in and just really, kind of bringing that back and, taking Luca or taking Ilya to the bridge and all that kind of stuff. They hadn't done that kind of stuff in a while. So I'm still going to go with Ilya, but if Tony wins, it would not surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah, I actually think Tony's going to win. I think Ilya has been great, but he's ready for the bigger stage, and I think we're going to see him on Raw very soon. Maybe after Mania, after losing the belt. I think he can lose and not have to stay around. I don't think. I think it's fine if he leaves right after he loses. If he wins, I wouldn't be shocked either. But if we were doing like a pool and we had to make predictions, I would have Tony D in this match.
Gotcha.
All right. For the tag titles, I personally think it's going to be the Good Brothers facing Braun and Corbin. And I think the Good Brothers are probably going to take the titles because I think they want to get Braun up on SmackDown full time. And I don't know what we're going to do with Corbin. I don't know if he hangs around NXT more or if he goes back up. So that's that's kind of what I think. I don't think it'll be a multi-team match because I think we got the multi-team tag match on WrestleMania proper. So yeah, I think the Good Bros are going to take the belts at standalone. What do you think?
Yeah, before they kind of established this little tournament, I always thought it was going to be a multi-team tag, kind of their classic 4-way that they do a lot of the times. But yeah, it kind of doesn't make sense to bring the Good Brothers down if they're not going to win this. I think that's kind of the natural match, brings the most star power to the big WrestleMania weekend show. Maybe not the sexiest matchup to a lot of people, but I think it would be a good Hoss fest, and they'd kind of beat the shit out of each other, and it'll be entertaining. So, but yeah, I think the Good Brothers win. And then they'll establish some other team, whoever ends up beating them further down the road.
All right. Well, the women's title is probably going to be Lyra and Roxanne. There's definitely going to be some kind of stipulation, I think, in this match. I don't think it will be a cage, but it could be something. Maybe a, I don't know. I don't think they would do an Iron Woman match, but there's going to be something there because it's a rematch on a PLE, and I think I don't know. I'm this is where I kind of like. Do they want to give Roxanne a heel run, championship heel run, or does Lyra win and Roxanne moves up? I think because Roxanne just fully turned, I can see Roxanne. I'm booking a lot of title changes here. I'm predicting. I know. I think we're not talking about Mania, but I think there's going to be a lot of title changes on that show as well on both nights. So I think, with the exception of Rhea, I think everybody's safe right now. In terms of Rhea's the only one that's safe. I mean, yeah. In terms of a title holder at the moment. But no, I think now that I think a little bit more about it, I think Roxanne will probably take the title. I think Lyra's been okay as a champion. I don't think it's been anything, too great. I think she's done a good job, but I think there hasn't been. I think the core injury probably messed some things up a little bit, but. Yeah. I think she's been fine. I don't think it's been a bad run, but it hasn't been like an outstanding run of note. But that's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, she's not going to be in your top tier women's champions in NXT.
I don't get the whole tier making thing, so don't even get me started on that.
Yeah. Well, she wouldn't be in the top one. I'll put it that way. But yeah, I think Roxanne takes this just to give her the belt and have her run as the heel on the roster. And I don't know how bad. Cora tore her ACL, right? And that wasn't that her injury. Yeah. Okay, so she'll be out for a while. Yeah, she'll be out a while. I think there are a lot of good faces on the roster to kind of go against the heel champion. So, I think this is definitely a time to take the belt off of Lyra. I don't think like we've said, I don't think she's been the greatest champion. She hasn't been a bad champion by any stretch, but I think Roxanne just has a little bit more juice, and they can make it like a submission I quit kind of match. Just kind of put over the injury and how Roxanne's been using that armbar or the armbar crossface thing lately. So if they would add a step to it, they could be something like that.
All right. For the NXT North American Championship, I think this is where we get a multi-man match, and I think this. I don't know if it'll be a ladder match, but I think this is going to be full on Hoss Fest. I think Oba is going to be defending against Briggs. We're going to throw Dijak in there, and I'm going to throw Von Wagner in there. So a fatal 4-way, 4 big Hosses in there. I think Oba should probably come out of this with the championship, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dijak gets the belt. I wouldn't be surprised if Briggs gets the belt. That's my prediction of how the NXT North American title is. I think you're thinking something similar, maybe not exactly the same, but I think I'd like to hear where do you think they're going to do with the NXT North American title?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do like they usually do a ladder match on one of these matches. If you're gonna do it, I think this is the place that you would do it. But I was just thinking, straight up triple threat match, Oba Femi, Briggs, and Dijak. That kind of seems, Dijak's been getting Briggs, or trying to get in Briggs's head. Obviously, Briggs wants to get revenge on Femi for kind of beating up his buddy. So I would just go triple threat. With Briggs, Femi, and Dijak. And like you said, I honestly could see any of the three of them walking away with the belt. But you could throw if you wanted to do like the 6-way ladder, I could see you throwing like Alexis King in there. And like you said, maybe a Von Wagner just to kind of give him a big opportunity. But I think they just go with the 3-way. And like I said, I think I could see any of the guys walking away with the belt. But I'd like to see maybe Briggs win it because I think they really like him and they really want to push him higher up the card. So I could see him getting kind of a mid-card title run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if they were to go that ladder match route, that's where I think then with like 6 guys in there or whatever, that's where I think where like Lexus King could walk away with it, like sneak his way out of it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And that protects Oba. It kind of protects everybody. And that's the thing about those multi-man ladder matches. It kind of protects everybody.
Yeah.
So to speak, because nobody really takes the pinfall. It's just somebody, gets the belt, gets the briefcase, whatever. So, all right. So any other matches that may also take place? Maybe we get Thea and Jacy, I think, on this card.
Yeah, I could see that being maybe like a pre-show match. I don't think that's like main card kind of thing, and that might be a better to like blow off on TV. In the grand scheme of things, it would give them more time probably, but if that makes the card, I don't see that being kind of like a main show kind of match.
I mean, I think if they do battle royals on Mania, we could see some NXT women make appearances in that battle royal, in the women's one at least. I don't know if we'll have any men from NXT because they there's enough guys on the main roster to fill it. But I don't know. I'm trying to think if there'd be any other possible matches. I have any other feuds that we have going on that would need to kind of have a stand and deliver match to them.
Yeah, I mean that there could be a Heritage Cup match, but I don't know who Dempsey would or whoever the No Quarter Catch crew pick would face. So I would say maybe one of those matches, but I don't think Riley versus Charlie or Riley versus anybody would be up there. And I think they'll have that match before the show anyway. So, but other than that, they're not really established against anybody yet. So I don't know. I don't know who that would possibly be against, but that's the only other thing I could really see.
Yeah, I can't really see any other matches. Maybe some kind of filler, maybe a Shawn Spears match, maybe because he's like, him again, maybe him and Ridge. That could be their blow off in a few weeks. Yeah. Maybe they continue to enjoy each other and they get like some kind of maybe gimmick match at Stand Deliver. Maybe like a weapons match, something. I don't know, a chairs match or some shit.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, probably won't get a chance to record before Stand Deliver, so we'll probably come to you, after Stand Deliver, after Mania, and we can we do our reactions. Then we'll get a live report from Logan about Stand Deliver and about anything else from that weekend you'd like to talk about on this forum. But Logan, where can people find you on other pods? I know you've been dropping a bunch of stuff lately, so what do you got?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Running myself ragged, I guess. I'm just playing.
You're like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. We've got Highway to the Impact Zone. We just did the Genesis 06 episode. That was the first Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe match. We had a ton of fun live watching that. Shawn went full shift on that episode, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So definitely check that out. Talking Docs, we just had an episode come out about Jeffrey Dahmer. Not the easiest episode to talk about, but I honestly think it was one of our best ones we've done so far. And I'll just plug Linking Up Luchas. we're about to do our Ultima Lucha 1 episode, so we've been building throughout the whole first season. We're finally getting to our climax, so definitely looking forward. We're going to live watch that one as the whole crew. We've kind of have teams on each episode. They kind of, one team does one episode, one team does the next, and then you kind of rotate. We're going to all get together and kind of live watch those 2 episodes together. So definitely looking forward to that. But just check everything out on Place to Be Nation and Pop Feed and NoSo Feed. So check everything out.
All right. Very good. As for me, Pop Video Jukebox Song of the Day. I'm starting to get back into pods, my other pods list, but surely I did a Blockbuster rewatch recently, continuing through the Star Wars films, and I just did episode 2, Attack of the Clones with Greg Diener. My next episode is Revenge of the Sith, and I will be with James Grooney Grunberg will be joining me. The court jester of Place to Be Nation. Looking forward to. Grooney loves Star Wars, so he talks very passionately about it, and it'll be a fun episode. Maybe I'll get back to a Laughing Theater. We should be getting a new episode of the Disney Pod, going over Brother Bear to you within the next couple of weeks, and the Comics Pod may come back after WrestleMania. We'll see about that. And just keep checking out everything we have on the Pop Experience. Check out everything on the Place Nation Wrestling Network, on the North South Connection, on their podcast feed, and their YouTube channel. They have a lot of great stuff. I don't know where some of those guys get the time or the energy, but they are cranking out stuff. Ryan and JT are doing their WrestleMania match countdown, and there's also going to be another countdown with similar to what they did before the Rumble with Greatest Rumble performers, so they're going to be doing that for Greatest WrestleMania performers. So look for that. You may see Logan, you may see me, you may see Logan and me together. You don't know that, but check out the NoSo YouTube feed. And what was I also going to say? Just keep checking out everything that everybody is doing here. It's a lot of people putting a lot of hard work in and really, putting their best efforts forward and trying to entertain, talk about subjects that they are passionate about and that they really enjoy talking about. Okay, so with all that being said, that's going to bring it end to this episode. Our 15th episode, Logan. Did you think we'd make it 15 episodes?
I never think I'm going to make it past a certain point before getting canceled. So I'm glad we've made it this far for sure. So definitely glad to still be here.
Well, it kind of helps out when your co-host is one of the owners of the brand, I guess.
That does help for sure.
Yes, it does help. No, this is a fun show. I really enjoy doing this. Look forward to it every month. And and Logan, I hope if I don't, I'm sure we'll chat in chats and all that stuff. But on the pod, I just want to say I hope you have a wonderful time in Philly. I know the Place to Be Nation NoSo trips to these events are great. I will make it to one of them one of these days. One of those away trips. It just for me right now, it just isn't in the cards. But it's going to be a great time. Looking forward to hearing all about it, to seeing the pictures. Yeah, make sure you're checking out the NoSo feed. The Place to Be Nation page on Facebook. Following people on Twitter, on what have you, because there's going to be lots of great photos. There's going to be lots of great stories that are going to be told on pods afterwards. So really, really looking forward to living vicariously through you guys and enjoying the wrestling weekend, because Philly is a great wrestling town, as much as they're a rival of most of my New York teams that I root for. But Philly, I had actually right before the world shut down, I was my first visit to Philly with the Cowboy and J. Arsenio D'Amato to Elimination Chamber, and I had a really great time at that show. Love that. The little the complex over there with all this, with the stadiums and the arena. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys have a great time. And I hope you guys check us out on our next episode. So for Logan Crosland, I'm Andy Atherton. Hope you enjoyed this episode of NXT as much as we enjoyed talking about it. And we will see you on our next episode. Take care.